lifeline for program 4b. All right, let's take a look at what program 4b really means. If you look at this diagram, it explains that we have a program that consists basically of 4 components and uses a 5th one. The main program is car lot. Car lot is going to use the automobile class once you have it implemented, and it's going to use car lot functions. If you look at car lot functions.h, you will see that it has the functions that deal with the array of cars. All right. The automobile class deals with objects that have inside of them a struct that defines all the data pertaining to a car. The class also contains, let's take a quick look. The class also contains various member functions that will do the work. Notice here, all of these functions here have access to this variable A. It's an automobile struct variable. Notice that the function validVen is also a member function. It happens to be private. So when you write the body for automobile class, you must make sure you include this along with these others. Right? Now, the automobile class, when you write the bodies for it, you're going to use the struct. Why do you need the struct? Because you need to know the names of the fields of the private variable A. And then you need to know the functions, automobile struct functions. So let's take a look at what those look like. And what do we have as these functions? Well, we have functions that will read new car data, and you got to pass it a record. You have one that will show a car data, you give it a number, a serial number, and you give it a record. Notice that this is the type automobile struct. Notice that the names of these functions look pretty much like the names of the public member functions of the automobile underscore class. And these are like shadow functions. So what do you think you have to do inside of the class when you go back to here? What do you think you have to do when it's time to read a new car? Well, you have a function that belongs to automobile struct functions that mirrors this function, and that's the function that you will call inside of this function. Is that clear? Same thing for load car, for show car, for save car. All of these deal with entire structs. So when I save a car, I impact the entire struct A that is inside of this class. So all of these functions work on the entire variable A. All of these. What about these functions? These functions don't care about the whole record. It only cares about particular fields in the record. So what do you do here? Just return the value of the odometer field of the variable that belongs to this class. Is that clear? Now let's take a look. This function requires what? It requires that you do a calculation. You've got to compute how much money you made from a car. And how do you do that? Well, what information is already in the class? What information is in the class? What's in the class? Well, here's the suggested price of the car. Here's how much you paid to get the car. Here's a field that says profit loss that can never be defined until you sell the car. So what calculation do you have to do? When you do that calculation, where does the result of the calculation go? Do you return it? Do you return it? No, it says void. What do you do with the result? Doesn't the result go here once you calculate it? And that's about it. All right. Now the question becomes, what does your automobile class automobile class .cpp file look like? And for that, I'm not going to tell you anymore, because first of all, you haven't watched the videos, you haven't taken measures you need to take to get a handle on this. If you watched the videos, it would have told you exactly what to do. If you play around with the repository, and y'all need to stop being chickens, okay? And see what's in the repository. I could give you answers to the program, and y'all won't even look at it. Take the time to see what's in the repository. You see a lot of examples. Why don't you just look through this list and try to say which one may be easy? Let me just see what it looks like. Okay? I'm going to leave that to you. See what one of these looks like. If you say OP, MView, any file that you want to look at. I'm going to say friend class. See what it looks like. What does it look like? Well, that's certainly not what you want, okay? Because this has a main program. Try something else to get a feel for what it looks like. Or just watch the video. With that, I'm done. I hope y'all can get this done. We're going to move on from this. If it's not submitted tonight, forget it. We're going to move on to the next assignment.